Well, what's going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash 2022, the final AEW Dynamite of 2022, which was actually a very, very good episode with some questionable booking near the end of the show that I had a problem with. We'll talk about that much, much more. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit the like button, go to the social media, Misfit Podcast TV, on Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, and right here on youtube.com/at the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. And guess what, guys? We're back on Spotify. That's correct. Just look us up. Misfit Wrestling Podcast. All the previous episodes from Clash of the Castle up until last week's Dynamite is up there on the Spotify page. This episode will go up on Spotify later on tonight. Hopefully, I'm very excited. We're back on Spotify. Check us out on Spotify. We are using that through the good folks at Anchor. They're not sponsoring us or anything. I would love it, but if you want some free things over there, you want to be able to do this, upload your podcast as many times as you want without a limit, Anchor is the way to go. We got a huge news before we get into the Dynamite here, which I'm going to talk about right here. Dragon Lee announced during tonight's play event where he and Dralístico took on FTR to win the AAA Tag Team titles. Immediately following that victory, Dragon Lee announced that he signed full-time contract with WWE and will be heading to NXT. Triple H responded to that. Triple H, man in charge over there, head of talent relations, an unbelievable athlete who has collected accolades and championships across the globe, and he's just getting started. The next chapter of Dragon Lee's career begins with NXT. So that is what Triple H had to say about the NXT official Twitter. I broke that news on there after it was confirmed, or before it was after Dragon Lee confirmed it themselves on WWE.com. This is a good pickup for Triple H. I believe this could be I think this is the first non-WWE return of the Triple H era that he signed somebody from the independent scene. Of course, he's been doing the signings of bringing back people who were fired. This guy was on AEW Dynamite not that long ago. Tony Khan, for whatever reason, passed on Dragon Lee, and now Dragon Lee is going to WWE. So congratulations to Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's career spans a Ring of Honor, of course. We can go over his championship accolades. Of course, he is currently one half of the AAA World Tag Team Champions with his brother, Dralístico. He's also held the CMLL World Lightweight Championship twice, the World Welterweight Championship with CMLL once. He's also All Pro Wrestling King of the Indies tournament winner, 2008 and 2018-2019. Crash Tag Team Championship with Dralístico. The Chaos Lucha Libre Tag Team Champions again with Dralístico. He's also been the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He won a tag. I believe this was a tournament. No, it was a tour. Looks like a tournament, but I'm not 100% sure. With Mystico, the original Sin Cara. Former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions twice with Kenny King. A two-time Ring of Honor Television Champion. Rookie of the Year for Wrestling Observer Live 2014. So yeah, there's some good stuff there for Dragon Lee. Very excited to see what he does in WWE. Hopefully they don't change much about him. So So that's going to be fantastic news. We got the year-end awards. Those were posted up on Twitter earlier today. I will go over them right here, right now, before we get into AEW Dynamite, obviously. So we started off with the worst things that happened this year, and I started off with worst match of the year with 58% of the vote going to the Charlotte Flair Ronda Rousey match at WrestleMania, followed by Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee with 29%. Then we had worst feud of the year. That went to Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan with 53% of the vote, followed by Edge and AJ Styles, 13%. And worst booked wrestler of the year, surprisingly nobody, Ronda Rousey, 64% of the vote, followed by a tie vote with 11%, with Shotzi Blackheart and Shayna Baszler. Interesting to know. Shocking moment of the year, with a whopping 94%. No big surprise here. Vince McMahon being forced to retire due to sexual misconduct allegations. He was forced to retire. Let's be honest. Like one person voted for Triple H taking over WWE, but it was kind of 48% of the vote for Return of the Year went to obviously Bray Wyatt at Extreme Rules. Tag team of the year went to FTR with 68% of the vote, followed by Meltears, Tam Nakano, and Natsupoi, 18%. They will be competing tonight. Me recording this episode, they will be competing tonight on Dream Queendom. We'll be reviewing that show whenever I, not immediately after, but when I get home tomorrow, I'm going to rewatch the show and I'm going to review Dream Queendom. Show of the year, 56% of the vote went to AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. Followed that up by Historic Crossover with 25% of the vote. So that's actually pretty fun. I agree. Forbidden Door with all the crazy weird booking decisions that had to happen on that show, because people are off the show for either being sick, being injured, for legal reasons, could not be on the show. Like CM Punk was supposed to wrestle Tanahashi. Hiromu Takahashi was supposed to be in that match with Shingo Takagi, Sting, and Darby Allin. Lucha Bros, and Andrade could not appear on the show because of the CMML stuff. Or was it Triple A? It was one of the two. Which then again, for some reason, couldn't get Naito over here, so we missed that out. But it ended up being one of the best shows of the year. So, congratulations to Forbidden Door and AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, sort of, their sister company, Stardom, has quite a few nominations, like you've seen earlier with Tag Team of the Year with Meltzer. They got nominated for Tag Team of the Year, and they also got nominated for Show of the Year with the New Japan crossover show. But female wrestler of the year for 2022, 44% of the vote went to the current reigning defending high speed champion of Stardom, Azumi. Which congratulations to Azumi, one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet today. Well deserved. Doing fantastic stuff. Some of the stuff she's been doing, killing it. Only 20 years old. She will continue to grow. I can't wait to see what she does in 2023. Second in the second place winner for this was Mayu Iwatani, the ace of Stardom, with 22% of the vote. Which again, I seen that coming. Mayu Iwatani, one of the faces of that promotion. So it's nice to see Mayu get some love as well in the voting poll, as well as some other ones. Male Wrestler of the Year went to Jon Moxley with 62% of the vote. No one voted for Roman. Actually, no, that's not true. Uh, uh, this was a four-way tie in the second place. Four-way tie with Will Ospreay, Dax Harwood, Sami Zayn, which is a sneaky. I guess he snuck in there a little bit, and Roman Reigns. So nice to see Jon Moxley in there, and Jon Moxley also won overall Wrestler of the Year, 62% of the vote. It kind of made sense for it to be Jon Moxley for male Wrestler of the Year and overall Wrestler of the Year. The award every year is going to go to both. It's not a 2% award. It's not a two-piece award or two-part award. It's basically I recognize men and women in that category. So men and women can be nominated. Like for example, the follow-up number second place in that was the current World of Stardom champion Shuri. Was second place. She won PWI's 100 top 100 female wrestlers of the year. So it's nice to see she made it on overall wrestler of the year for the second place on that thing. Promotion of the year, again, this one here, a lot of people will may be divided on this one. I look at it as you cannot have a half of the year be great, and then the rest of the year, and then the other half be shitty. The same as vice versa. The way I've seen Stardom, the way I've heard about Stardom lately, of all this year, of this year particularly, after the year they had 2 years ago with losing Hana Kimura, and then trying to gain back all that momentum that they had going for themselves. Stardom did win with 64% of the vote. 6 promotions were nominated only. Stardom was one of them, along with WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling. I did not put Ring of Honor in here because they do not have television now, so I can't go based off of pay-per-views. Oh, and NXT as well. I counted them as separate for that whole thing there. Feud of the year. 8 feuds were nominated. 8 feuds were nominated. 53% of the vote went to the winner of Feud of the Year, which is FTR and the Briscoes from Ring of Honor. All 3 of those matches were incredible tag team matches. One of the best tag team matches I probably have ever seen, next to the FTR's matches with DIY and Alpha Academy. I mean, it's up there. So that was tied in second place with Tam Nakano versus Natsupoi from Stardom, and CM Punk versus MJF from AEW. Match of the year. This one was a big one. This one was big, and a lot of people seem to see this one with 128 views, because this is a new thing on Twitter. 28 views here, 29 views rather. 17 matches were nominated. Of course, nominations. The other nominations, I will go over the other nominations for match of the year. Give me a second. But 43% of the vote went to the winner of match of the year, Starlight Kid, she challenged Azumi. She either challenged or defended the Ice High Speed title against Azumi. Cinderella Journey early this year, in one of the best women's matches I have ever seen in my 20 something years of watching this sport called professional wrestling. That is probably one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. Last year, obviously, you guys know Utami, Shida, and Shuri won match of the year last year with their incredible match. Uh, their time limit, I believe it was their time limit draw that they had, and it was just good stuff. In second place, tied was FTR versus the Briscoes from Final Battle, and I made a correction because I messed it up earlier. I originally had it as Punk and MJF. It was actually the finals of the G1 Climax, Okada versus Will Ospreay. So the other matches that were nominated but didn't get a lot of votes. One of them, so there's some that only got one vote each. So it's got like 6% of the votes for third place, which was Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson, the AEW title match on the debut episode of Dynamite on TBS. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch from WrestleMania 38. Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta from AEW Rampage. Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, the Steel Cage match from Stardom's Fight in the Top. And CM Punk versus MJF AEW Revolution. Other matches that was nominated but obviously didn't get picked was Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell. Gunther versus Sheamus, Clash of the Castle. Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi Hojo from Historic Crossover. FTR versus the Briscoes from Death Before Dishonor. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy from Forbidden Door. Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay from the G1 Climax. New Japan Cup Finals. Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia, the 2 out of 3 falls match that they had on Dynamite. The House of Dragons episode. And the Usos versus the Street Profits for Money in the Bank. The hour-long, incredible match between Josh Alexander and Mike Bailey from Impact Wrestling. Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida from AEW Dynamite last week. Were the other matches that were nominated. The other wrestlers that were also nominated for overall wrestlers of the year. I might as well say that. Like I said, I mentioned them earlier. The ones who were tied: Mox, Dax, Will Ospreay, and Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. No, Roman Reigns. No, never mind. They weren't tied with the overall. They were tied in just full men's here. Tied for third place in the overall men wrestler of the year. Azumi, Bryan Danielson, Josh Alexander, and Will Ospreay. So that was pretty cool. The other ones that were nominated for here were Gunther, Bryan Danielson. I've already mentioned him earlier. Miyu Yamashita, Seth Rollins, Starlight Kid, Julia, who my prediction is going to win the World of Stardom Championship tonight. And those were all the names. For female wrestler, the other ones that were nominated, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Mandy Rose, who unfortunately got released, which not a lot of people voted for her, unfortunately. Jade Cargill, Miyu Yamashita, Starlight Kid, Thunder Rosa, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Toni Storm. I will admit, I know for a fact that Jamie Hayter is going to be put on this list next year. But that was the year-end awards for that, and I enjoyed doing all that stuff. I enjoyed watching wrestling this year. I enjoyed everything that happened. This was one of the craziest years in professional wrestling history. But we're going to go over AEW Dynamite tonight. Because it was actually a very good show outside of one of the finishes I had a problem with. But AEW Dynamite opened with a very, 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 very good match between Bryan Danielson and All Eagle Ethan Page. Before the match, MJF was shown in the box with a lovely, lovely lady we found out is Daddy Doom. She is an independent wrestler on, which is sort of similar in a way to me, in my opinion, to a little bit of Scarlett from WWE, Scarlett Bordeaux. So who we saw up there. He was just doing a lot of distractions in this match. Just at one point, Bryan Danielson was going to hit Stokely Hathaway. Didn't go out very well. because Hathaway kept distracting Danielson. That allowed Ethan Page to nail with a pump kick to the face of Bryan Danielson, or to the face of Bryan Danielson. Sends Danielson back onto the floor. He followed that up by sending Danielson into the ring post. Page rakes the eyes. Danielson traps him into the corner. Allows more kicks from Danielson. Who follows that up with a hurricane run up the top rope. He tries to follow that up by diving off the ring apron, but Stokely Hathaway is there, saves his client, allows Ethan Page to launch him into the steel stairs, allows Ethan Page to launch him to the steel stairs. Ethan Page then dives back into the ring with a cutter onto Danielson. Danielson kicks out. However, once again, Danielson counters Page's plans and plants Ethan Page head first, following it up with a strike through the head. Near the end of the match, Danielson hits a Basaiku knee kick, followed that up with stomps and locked in the label lock for the victory. So Bryan Danielson wins, moves on to hopefully MJF. It looks like they're still going to go with MJF versus Bryan Danielson at I almost said Full Gear at Revolution, which is probably the best option there. So you hold that out until you know hands. Wardlow is shown backstage with Renee Paquette. He says that there's too many words, and tonight there hasn't been too many words, and tonight it's all about actions. He gets jumped by Samoa Joe, who attacks him with a metal pipe. Renee then asks Hangman Page, this is in a different segment here, for a medical update. He admits that he's frustrated, but he doesn't think there's a good one right now. However, the doctor says if he keeps it up, then he could be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, which is the big show in Los Angeles, which is the rumored debut for in AEW for a speculated debut for Sasha Banks, the former Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, who will probably be debuting at New Japan Pro Wrestling next Wednesday. Next up, we got Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli taking on Top Flight in a fun tag match. This match had no right to be as good as it was, but it was. Top Flight works together to attack the knee of Jon Moxley, and as Darius then runs up the back of his brother to dropkick Moxley to the floor, following it up by launching Moxley into the guardrail. The brothers continue to isolate Moxley as Dante launches himself off to the top rope to drop down Moxley with force. Darius returns to the ring and continues focused on the knee. Moxley kicking Moxley's leg from underneath, kicking his leg out his leg, basically. And taken into terms of Owen Hart would speak. Despite that, he was able to tag in Claudio. Claudio just starts wrecking house. He starts dropping Dante, following that up with a European uppercut, several European upcuts. Then locks in the giant swing. Darius makes the save only to put himself into the move. So again, Claudio's just swinging everything and everyone that moves. Yet, he gets thrown into a DDT, gaining Top Flight a near fall. Top Flight gets a near fall here. Claudio showcases his strength with a double suplex on both members of Top Flight. Yet they respond with combinations, a combination offense, which requires Moxley to make the save. Dante Martin manages to launch out of the ring to wipe him out throughout the whole match. Done, and Darius then almost gets a win. He gets distracted by Moxley, who but reverses it into an uppercut attempt with a backslide. Yet is met with a neutralizer, only for Darius to kick out Claudio. Starts hitting elbows on Darius. Dante comes in to tries to save him. Moxley then stops it with a King Kong lariat to get as Darius gets beat down with elbows. Claudio has had enough, nails him with another big strike, provide the final blow. Huge uppercut, taking his mouth guard out, and Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli get the W here. Gets that fun tag match. Don't know where they're going with. They're obviously Moxley's obviously busy with Hangman Page, but I don't know what's still going to be for the rest of Blackpool Combat Club. Kip Sabian is shown backstage with the best friend, saying it's finally time to get him a title shot. I feel like he's already had a title shot at the All Atlantic title, but okay. But Trent Seven, who's still outside, who's still there, points out that he eliminated Sabian, so Orange Cassidy gives him a shot instead. So it's going to be Orange Cassidy versus Trent Seven. It's somewhere down the line. Hook defeats a fucking worthless human being. Red Rum for the win. That was it for that. Stokely Hathaway though, then appears because you see a lot of him tonight. Gets Big Bill and Leo Moriarty. They basically start wanting to attack. Hook. Out comes Jungle Boy for the rescue. They start fighting off the Firm. Jungle Hook stands tall, looking for the bare necessities, simple bare necessities, and the worry it's about your strides. Chris Jericho is shown backstage saying that Ricky Starks turned down the opportunity of a lifetime. Not really, because no one wants to join your stupid ass group. He says that he is foolish and small-minded, calling Starks a flash in the pan, even though that's not what he said last week. He says Starks has the confidence of a superstar, but he doesn't have the tools yet. He does. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, he's talking about himself. Never mind. Long night. Jericho promises to school him. Starks won't know what hit him, and he always will win. And warns Axel Andrade, the man that beat him a few weeks ago, not to come back to AEW. He's signed with the company. Just thought I'd throw it out there, Jericho. Swerve Strickland is shown with Renee Paquette, and he had to replace Keith Lee with people who believe in him. And there's Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta shows up and says that he's not surprised by his actions. Basically challenges Swerve to a match, and we get Swerve and Wheeler Yuta, which should be fun on Rampage. I won't review the show, but I'll watch the match because it does sound like a lot of fun. This match, I was very surprised did not main event the show. I really should have, if I'm being 100% honest here. Death Triangle, Elite, match 6 in the best of 7 series, Falls Count Anywhere. If the Elite win here, they tie the series. If the Death Triangle win here, they retain the tag team title of the Trios Championships. This match was fucking phenomenal shit. They always these 6 always know how to put on a show. And need I remind you that Kenny Omega is fixing to get on a plane to I'm gonna say Canada, to Japan, to probably wrestle 30 minutes with Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom next week. So there's V triggers, there's fucking Black Arrows, Brutalizers, 1 Weekend Angels, there's super kick parties, there's all this stuff being happening. Death Triangle at one point places all their focus on the Kenny Omega as they trap him in the trash can, connects it with multiple drop kicks. He fights back through. Omega starts fighting back, launching the Leech Bros out the ring with Nick Jackson. Then Nick Jackson then nailing a knee onto Pac, only to turn around with a thrust kick and a sling blade. Matt Jackson then hits a destroyer onto Penta, but he immediately he's immediately hit with a frog splash by Rey Fenix, who then is taken out with a dragon suplex by Omega, who probably was then taken out by Pac. Yes, he was. Omega gets the trash can, starts attacking Pac with it, putting it over him. Hits the V trigger. That one spot you've seen him do it multiple times with the trash can, puts him on his head and hits the V trigger, crushing the steel into his head. Later on in the match, so near the end of the match, Pac has the brutalizer locked onto Nick Jackson, or Matt Jackson rather. While that's going on, Kenny Omega's got Penta up on the not the melt Penta. He's got Rey Fenix up for the one-winged angel. Hits the one-winged angel off the rail onto a table. And while that's going on, he pinfall 1, 2, 3. The bell rings. The referee doesn't. The other guys think they won, because Matt Jackson attacks out. But however, the Elite gets the win because Omega hits the one-winged angel from a platform in the crowd through some tables to get the win on Rey Fenix. Either Rey Fenix or Pentagon Jr. was one of those two. And now not next week, but 2 weeks from tonight, at the big Los Angeles show, it's going to be the Elite Death Triangle ladder match for the Trios Championships. And my prediction here, the Elite win the titles back and immediately is attacked by the House of Black, setting up the feud for Revolution. The Elite versus the House of Black for the Trios titles. Oh my god, I am fucking excited to see Malachi Black versus Kenny Omega, Muddy Matthews versus Kenny Omega, Brody King versus Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks versus the Kings of the Black Throne. I don't know why I said Death for Kings of the Black Throne. That's going to be some awesome shit. I cannot wait for those matches. And then the ultimate three-way, the trios match, the Elite and House of Black, and that's when I'm assuming House of Black are going to win their first championships in AEW. So that's going to be good. The Elite are the Acclaimed basically just buried Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett and friends. There was a great line in there about Jeff Jarrett basically stealing talent like he did Kurt Angle's wife, which I fucking popped for. That was funny. Probably my least favorite match of the night, which is sad given how much praise I gave the women last week. Ty Conti and Anna Jay of the JAS defeated Willow Nightingale and Ruby Soho. I didn't care about this. I really don't. I didn't. I gave a lot of praise to the women last week, and Tony Khan did the opposite of what I asked him to do. Last week, I said that the best women's match in AEW history happened last week with Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida stealing the fucking show, putting on one of the best matches of the year, putting on the best women's match in AEW history, and Shida showing why she's, the ace of AEW, despite of what people want you to tell, what people in AEW and the AEW Shields want to tell you that Britt Baker is the ace, but it's fucking Hikaru Shida. This match was not very memorable. Ty Conti wins with a chair to the face, hitting Ruby Soho in the face with the chair, then hitting the TKO for the win. This match was not memorable at all. It's again, to me, this was a step backwards from last week. It was very simple. All you had to do was do the exact same thing you did last week with apply it to the other women's matches on the show and give them. This was not what I meant. Now, I mean, they were somewhat invested, but they didn't give a shit because no one cares about Ty Conti and no one cares about Anna Jay. At this point, no one cares about Ruby Soho. People care about Willow Nightingale, but not that much, Making time Mello and Anna Jay win. Who cares? The Gun Club are shown leaving as they claim that they are the best tag team in the world. That's not true because FTR is. They will address FTR next week, who did lose the AAA Tag Team titles tonight, and also lost the Ring of Honor titles a few weeks ago to the Briscoes. Ricky Starks is Ricky Starks is then interviewed. Says that he will get revenge for Action Andretti. Next week, he says that Chris Jericho. He says that he's a star that Chris Jericho can't control, and which is what he doesn't like. He says that he will be Manny Masterclass when he whooped Jericho's ass. So next week it's going to be and the rundown for next week, for AEW or tonight for Rampage. So you get the All Atlantic Championship match, Orange Cassidy, versus Trent Beretta, which is weird that it says that here, but apparently I must have missed the segment. It was Trent Beretta. So this is gonna be a weird little thing here. But it's gonna be so we got Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta for the All Atlantic Championship. We have Jade Cargill taking on Kiera Hogan. We have Swerve Strickland and Wheeler Yuta. We're gonna hear from Jamie Hayter as well. Next week's Dynamite, we have the only thing I can remember off of the top of my head is the match with who the fuck is it? Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho, and there's some other things. They're gonna get new graphics. You've seen the new graphics, so hopefully the new set's not a shit set. I really hope it's not them just taking on the set that they used for they used for the Los Angeles show when they first came to LA. The post I really hope they don't try to use the fucking pay-per-view sets for the new set for Dynamite. I don't want to see that. Next up, Wardlow loses the match here with Samoa Joe. This was alright match. This was not very good, if I'm being honest. Not my favorite Samoa Joe match. The only two Samoa Joe matches I have actually enjoyed here in AEW so far is his match with in AEW strictly. Now I'm not counting Ring of Honor. Is Darby Allin and the match he had with Minoru Suzuki. Actually, I think it was a match we had with Kyle O'Reilly. That was pretty good. I must be thinking of a different. I think Kyle O'Reilly did not wrestle Samoa Joe. I could be wrong here. Anyways, or it might. It actually might have been Kyle O'Reilly. Anyways, match was all right. Nothing huge here. The Samoa Joe wins with a coquina clutch. He passes out after the match. Samoa Joe appears to respect Wardlow, just then starts beating up Wardlow, cuts his hair. Then, for whatever reason, Darby Allin, who lost 2 weeks ago, might I add, to Samoa Joe clean and got his ass kicked, is for some reason now wanting another match with Samoa Joe. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing another? Look, I like Darby Allin, but I have no desire to see a match that I just saw 2 weeks ago and saw Darby Allin get his ass kicked. Why? There are other people on that roster that could have came out here. You could have had Adam Cole come back as a babyface if he was cleared. You could have had fucking, I don't know, you could have had, I'm trying to think of somebody to come out here that people would have cared about. You could have had, Miro's not doing anything. Could have Miro come out here. Her Miro babyface. No, you didn't do that at all. That was Dynamite. Dynamite was a fun show in ring. 2 matches didn't work out. I didn't care about the main event. I didn't care about the women's match. I loved the trios match, the tag match, and the first hour of the show is what I'm going to label here. And the trios match was fun. But all in all, AEW Dynamite, fine episode of Dynamite. Not the best way to end, to me, not the best way to end the last Dynamite for 2022. That's just me. I would have done better. Again, that's just me. But if you like what you've seen here, and if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me, you let me know. Comment down below. I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. Comment down below. Hit the like button. Follow the social medias at Misfit Podcast TV. Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Pod. You Facebook, you know where that's at. Facebook, right here at youtube.com/Misfit Wrestling Podcast, and on Spotify, Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Just type it into the search bar. You'll find it somewhere, but it's there. It's under podcasts. You just gotta look for it. Like I said, all 41 episodes of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast is up there. Outside of the prediction shows, there won't be any more prediction shows until next year when I will upload the top 25 bold predictions for 2023 and the upcoming event for Wrestle Kingdom. And we also have the predictions for the Royal Rumble coming up. Reviews coming up, obviously, hopefully sometime tomorrow. Stardom's Dream Kingdom 2, where we hope that Julia will be crowned as the World of Stardom champion, and hopefully Kairi and Utami Hayashida tear the house down with a phenomenal match. We also have Monday Night Raw. We have SmackDown, the final SmackDown of 2022. John Cena. I didn't get to talk about this. John Cena will be wrestling on the final episode of SmackDown, the final WWE show of 2022. He'll be teaming with Kevin Owens to take on Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Should be fun. We'll see what's happening with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, who did Fear of the Flesh, which is very odd. We also have coming up, we have the Royal Rumble, which the officially WWE did actually officially announce, confirmed on their Twitter. And I haven't announced on their website, but Pitch Black match is announced, which is actually a sponsor for Mountain Dew Pitch Black for whatever reason. We also have Wrestle Kingdom coming up. We have what else we have this the month of January. I believe that's it. Then we got the Royal Rumble. Then we got Elimination Chamber in February. We have Revolution in March. WrestleMania 39 in April. And we're gonna start over again with the season 2, with the whole thing over again. We're gonna do some stuff here, and I'm gonna try to do a whole entire year. 41 episodes. I still can't believe that. But anyways, until then, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for Dream Kingdom. Hope you guys enjoy Stardom tonight, and hope you enjoy Dynamite. Until then, we're out.